Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys awesome interviews. And today it is an honor and privilege to have Mr. John Corabi. He is the former vocalist of Mötley Crüe and The Scream. We got him on here going to be talking about his new band that he's with called the Dead Daisies. They have a new album that's out right now called Make Some Noise, and this album's getting some really, really good feedback on this. So, John, how's it going?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you for taking time out to do this interview with me. I really like your guys' music, and throwback to some old classic rock from you guys. What's impressed you the most about making the new album Make Some Noise, man?
Well, you know what? Honestly, it's just with these guys. Well, first of all, it was our first record with our new guitar player. He's not so new now, but Doug Aldridge. First record with Doug, and Doug and I have known each other since he was probably 16 or 17 years old back in Philadelphia. You know, so we've kind of kept an eye on each other's career throughout the years. And this was, it was a very good to have him in the fold and just kind of hang out. And he's a beast on the guitar too. So, but you know what, honestly, it's just a bunch of old friends getting together. We have the same influences musically. We're very much into the classic 70s rock, and it's just always fun, man. Like, it was fun writing the record, it was fun recording the record, and you know, we have a blast out here touring. We're out with friends, Kiss, and you know, just the whole thing it's just a blast, man. It's a great time, so can't complain about anything.
You guys worked with producer Marty Frederick, and he's worked with Aerosmith, Def Leppard, Mötley Crüe, and Buckcherry. How was working with him, man?
You know, honestly, same with Marty. Like, I've known Marty, I can't remember the name of the band that Marty was in, but I've known Marty since I was in The Scream. His band opened for The Scream on a couple of the shows that we did in the West Coast. And again, I saw that name, you know, first when he started working with Brother Kane, and then he got the Aerosmith, you know, got into the Aerosmith camp and started writing and recording their records. And I've just watched Marty grow, and he's an amazing producer, amazing songwriter, and he's really cool, laid back guy, you know, so working with him was a blast. Marty and I always see each other. We both live in Nashville, so we'd always see each other out at a bar or a pub or something. And we'd say, dude, we got to work together. You know, we got to work together. Come on, let's do something, you know? And so this was the opportunity, and it was a blast working with him. We told him we want a straight ahead, kick ass 70s rock and roll record. And he was all about it. So having him on board was like, you know, sixth member of the band. It was great having a fresh set of eyes and ears. You know, when we were kind of stumped or stopped on something, Marty would come in and throw something into the pot, and it just all came together. It was great.
Any songs off the new album, John, that stand out more to you, if any, if you can pick any at all?
You know, that's like asking somebody, what finger do you want to lose? But yeah. It varies from day to day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll get up one day and I'll go, oh man, Make Some Noise. It's awesome. And then the next day it's something else. But I think that there's about 3 or 4 consistently have been in my top, you know, like that I listen to almost on a daily basis. And that would be Last Time I Saw the Sun, Long Way to Go, obviously. I love the song We All Fall Down. And I like Mainline, too, the song Mainline.
This is kind of a little lengthy question here, but are you a little surprised about how good the album is getting? A lot of good reviews. I mean, when this broke through, man, this album, it broke through on the UK charts at number 35, the Swiss National Album Chart at 10, the US Hard Rock Album Chart at 11, and I mean, it debuted in the German National Album Chart at 22. The Austrian album chart at 34, and the USA Top Hard Music Chart at 19. I mean, this speaks volumes, man. This is pretty awesome for you guys.
You know what? Honestly, it's you know, with everything that I've done in the past, the Scream record, was, you know, we were touted as, you know, the next big thing. Mm-hmm. And in the Mötley record, when I did that, I remember everybody being stupidly stoked about that record as well. Like, oh, this is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And, you know, honestly, I've kind of, I have very high expectations of myself when I do things. So when I go into the studio, whether it's solo or with my band, you know, the Dead Daisies, like, I just want things to be great. I want the songs to be great. I want it to sonically sound great. And the same on stage. I want to put on a great show, and I want to sound great, and I want it to be pure. Like, I don't want to use a lot of, you know, I know, and I'm not knocking anybody that does, but for me personally, I don't like using backing tracks and backing tapes, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I want to go on stage and I want to sound great, you know, but at the end of the day, after all of the things I got, you know, my first record, I started to buy into a lot of the hype. Mm-hmm. And then when I did the Mötley record, I kind of bought into a lot of the hype. I just figured the Mötley record, they were coming off of Feel Good. We delivered what we all thought was a great record. Mm-hmm. And I just knew we were going to go out and sell 4 or 5 million records. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. So I had very high expectations of myself and whatever band I'm in to deliver a good product. But then after I turn it over and I put it in somebody else's hands, I really lower my expectations, and I go, I can only freak out and control the things that I can control. There's just some things that I can't control. I'm very pleased at the response that we've been getting. I think it's been amazing. The fans have been incredible, showing up in droves to our shows. We just did a bunch of headlining shows in Europe, and they were all sold out. We've been getting a great response. Every night we do a little meet and greet with Kiss, and we'll go up to a table, and we sign posters and take photos and sign their records and all that stuff. And we've literally had a couple of hundred people in the line every night, you know, so it's been amazing. For that, I'm very grateful, but I don't really have any, I try to not follow the numbers and all that other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I try to just not even think about it.
I thought the Mötley Crüe album you did was awesome, man. That's just my opinion. I thought it was a fresh take. I thought it was really cool what y'all did.
Well, and again, you know, like, I think with every record that I've ever done, not one of the bands, including the Dead Daisies, you know, we never really walked in and said, we want to sound like this.
Right. Yeah.
We just said, you know, we're going to write the way we write, and whatever producer we were working with, we just want, you know, the best sound possible. And we just kind of let the record go where it goes, you know. So it was the same with the Mötley record. You know, but what I was saying is, like, we did that record. We were sitting in the room every day, like when they were doing the orchestration on Misunderstood, and they were doing, you know, backing vocals, and we were hearing the songs blossom. I mean, there was a couple times where Tommy and I and Nikki and Mick, we were just freaking out going, this is insane. It's insane. And then we started buying into the hype. Like, this is the best record you guys have ever done, and blah, blah, blah. And you start looking at the numbers. Okay, Feel Good sold 6 million. You know what I mean? And you just kind of get caught up in it. And then when it doesn't do what you think it's going to do, or when, you know what I mean, you kind of get disappointed. So I've kind of taught myself to turn it off and not, once I turn it over to the record label, I really try to not worry about it.
You know, some's considering this like an all-star group of musicians. Would you say that's safe to say about this group, man, about the Dead Daisies?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, even for a guy that's in the band to be able to stand in front of, you know, Marco and Doug and David and Brian and hear them play the way they play, mm-hmm. like, it's hard to not think that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, like we've been tagged, you know, super group or all-star band or whatever. At the end of the day, like I was saying earlier, I've known Doug since he was 16 or 17 years old back in Philadelphia. We both grew up in Philly. And I've known Marco 20 years. I've known Brian since 94. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And for me and for all of us, it's just a bunch of great friends that are like, we're just pals that have the same influences. We listen to the same music. We have an iPod player. We put the iPod player on every night while we're getting ready, and we just bounce back and forth between Aerosmith and Zeppelin and Queen and all these great bands. It's all the stuff we grew up listening to. And so to me, it's just like a bunch of pals. It's like a boys club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a really cool boys club. We write, you know, we have the same things we're into, and it's a boys club, pals. And if I wasn't in this band with them, I'd probably be down at the hotel bar right now having a beer with them, just chewing the fat. You know what I mean? Because we are just buddies. You know, so again, we don't really kind of get caught up in the whole all-star super group, whatever thing. We're just having a good time.
You know, you mentioned Aerosmith, and I think it's kind of funny because I was sitting here just a little bit ago watching Aerosmith live at Donington. So,
yeah, well, you know what? For me and Brian, especially, like one of my favorite records and Brian's favorite records is Aerosmith Live Bootleg. And then it's crazy, like we all send each other links when we find some like new little thing, some gem, like Grand Funk Live from Shea Stadium, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we'll find really good video footage, and we just share it with each other, you know. But Brian and I, we have an affinity for the Live Bootleg record and Aerosmith from the Texas Jam in like 77 or 78, you know what I mean? But, you know, again, it's just, we're just music fans, you know, we're friends and we're music fans, and we somehow, for some reason, we all just kind of like the same bands in the same era. You know what I mean? So it works. It's fun. It's very easy.
John, what do you hope the fans take away from the new album? Once they start to listen to this, man, what do you hope that they take from it?
Well, I hope I think everybody's good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I love the songs on the record, but at the end of the day, again, you know, to get out of the musical thing, I think it's just an unpretentious, honest record. You know, we are what we are. You know, we're a bunch of veteran musicians that are friends, and we're having fun, and we did the best that we could in the studio. We do the best that we can live, and we make no bones about being who we are, what we are. And so I just think we're an unpretentious, honest, but energetic and fun band. You know what I mean? We have a blast.
What can fans expect at a show from the Dead Daisies once they come out to see you guys live, man?
As I just said, it's a very upbeat, energetic show. It's loud. You know, we've actually had a couple of the Kiss fans even say, God, you guys are as loud or louder than Kiss.
That's awesome.
So it's loud. It's a kick in the teeth, but it's fun. We kid around with the audience. Never know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, I'll be standing on stage and the audience will start looking to the left, and Marco will just off the stage and he's out in the audience with his bass, and he's just having a good old time, and Brian's back there flipping sticks and drinking his beer, and we're just having fun, you know. So it's a very energetic, loud, kick-ass show, and it's a bunch of old guys having fun.
And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about the feeling of music. And if you can't get that, then there's something wrong with you, my friend.
Yeah, you know, I've had a few. It was in the past. I had a little bit of a wild hair about a couple record labels that said to me, you know, wow, you know, it's just, your band is really good. I'm speaking of the band Union.
Yeah.
And we had a record label that was really into the band. They didn't know who the band was. And then as soon as our manager told them that it was John Corabi and Bruce Kulick from Kiss and Mötley Crüe, his story totally changed and turned because he was like, oh, these kids aren't going to get this, nobody's going to buy a record where it's, somebody's old enough to be their dad.
Jeez.
And I just sat there and I'm like, when did it become that? Like, I'm not training to be a middle linebacker for a football team.
Yeah.
I'm not training to be a boxer, although George Foreman did win the title back again at age 51. So whatever. Like, it's not something overly physical that I'm doing. What makes you think that I'm going to, my songwriting abilities or my art is going to diminish as I get older? And oddly enough, now with the Daisies, I'm shocked. Like, we do these festivals. We just got done doing a month of festivals and headline shows all through Europe, and I was blown away at how many young kids are into this band.
Yes, sir.
Like, it's they don't care. They do not care that we're in our 40s or 50s or late 30s or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They just like, wow, I dug the show.
Yeah. And I've been wanting to say this for a long time, and you'll probably agree with me when I say this. People's got to stop and think it's about the music. It's not about the numbers. It's about the music. You put something good out there, bad or good, people will react. Plain and simple.
I'm looking at it right now. There's a few bands out right now. There's a band called Rival Sons.
Yeah, yeah.
They are killing it right now.
Agreed.
Great band, and I can hear their influences. They're very much into a lot of the same things we are. We're going to be back in Europe later this year with a band called The Answer. They're Irish band. They're very much, everybody's like, love those guys. Just a good old-fashioned, kick-ass, classic rock band. There's a band called Inglorious that we've done some shows with. Now, they're younger guys, per se, younger guys. Mm-hmm. And then there's a band called The Struts. And they're all these, like, for some reason, it's kind of going back into this whole classic thing that we've been doing all along. And people are starting to embrace it now, you know what I mean? And it's cool, man. I think it's, it's a good thing. Who knew that I would have a resurgence in my career, age 50? You know what I mean?
Never too young, my friend. Never too young or never too old. So
I never said it. It's everybody else around me that's been saying it. But I write the way I write. I do what I do. I do it the best I can, and I'm just here to have fun. That's it.
Do you prefer the digital era, the way recording is now of albums and things, John, or do you just want to be in the studio and not even touch the digital way it is today?
No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I have a Pro Tools studio at home at my house. You know what I mean? I do think that there's something about, I think certain things can be recorded digitally and sound awesome, but I still think that there's certain things like drums, bass, like certain things sound better when they're recorded to tape. You know what I mean? But I do have to admit, man, like the fact that I could sit in my front room of my house in a bedroom and I could actually record something that would sound as good as any other record I've ever heard is pretty awesome, though. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So it does give an individual some freedom to be experimental and not have a record label sitting over your shoulder, handing you tons of money and going, all right, I need the record in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? You can just sit there and play around and experiment with sounds and so there's pros and cons to everything. You know what I mean? But I've done some records totally digitally, like the second Union record, The Blue Room, was done digitally. Actually, so was this Make Some Noise. We did, the whole record was done digitally in Marty's studio. We didn't use any tape at all. So, but like I said, Marty's got all the state-of-the-art things to like warm things up or make it sound like it was done on tape, whatever, But I don't really I mean, obviously I would like to record certain things on tape and then transfer it, but it doesn't bother me.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, that's what I want to do?
The Beatles.
Oh, nice.
I saw a video. I mean, I got into them. I mean, obviously, when the Beatles came to America, I was like 2 years old or 3 years old. But I saw later, when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, 10 years old, I saw a video of them on, like, I want to say it was like a recap of the Ed Sullivan Show or something, like all the times the Beatles had been on TV. And I saw them play Hello, Goodbye. And I was like, I saw their hair was getting a little longer. The way the audience reacted to them. And it was just the coolest thing. I was like, oh my God. There was some sort of primal little thing that happened in me that was like, I want to do that. And then a little later, a couple years later, I got a guitar. And then my mom bought me like several records, LPs for Christmas. And she got me Zeppelin 4 and then Grand Funk. We're an American band.
Nice.
Jimi Hendrix Experience. And I just buried myself in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is insane. So I would think the two things that sparked me would be the Beatles on Ed Sullivan Show and then Led Zeppelin.
I know you guys receive this a lot, and I'm sure you do too. But what's it mean to you when you receive an email from a fan, or prior to your guys' shows or after your shows, they'll come and say, hey, look, your guys' music has pulled me through a bad time. It's gave me inspiration to overcome obstacles. Or it's just maybe to relax and get away from the everyday reality that we go through. What's that mean to you, John?
It's huge, I mean, because I don't really, it's really funny. Like, I've hung out with, like, I mean, I'm doing it right now. Like, I hang out with guys like Paul Stanley, and there's a million questions I want to ask him, like, or Steven Tyler. Mm-hmm. Dude, what made you write Seasons of Wither? Like, oh my God, dude, you have no idea. Like, I used to sit in my living room with a guitar in front of a mirror, and I just, I tried to put eyeliner on and black nail polish like you, and, and like, you have no idea what kind of an impact you were on my life. Like, that I can understand. But for some reason, I can't put myself in Steven Tyler's position. Like, when a fan comes and says it to me, like, I appreciate it. And to a degree, I get it. But I just sit there when fans say these kind of things to me, I just look at them like, are you seriously? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little surreal. But then I see how I am with Steven Tyler or Robert Plant or Brian Johnson or some of the guys that I've met. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, I get it. Or like when we do the meet and greets, fans come up and they're like, Mr. Corabi, can I get a photo with you? And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm John. You don't need to call me Mr. Corabi. And then they come over and they'll sit next to me, and I'll put my arm around them, and I can just feel them shaking.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's a thrill, but part of me still doesn't get it. You know what I mean? I don't get, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just weird.
Music's therapy,
it's a very weird feeling.
Music's therapy to us. I mean, we all relate to what you guys put out, and that's just how I can explain it.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you guys for what you guys are doing, putting out great music. So, John, thank you guys so much, and continue with success, my man. Make Some Noises out right now by the Dead Daisies. John, how can people pick this album up? Buy some merchandise from you guys, and keep in touch with you guys, because I know you're on tour right now with Kiss. How can they do that, my man?
Well, we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but they can go to the deaddaisies.com if they want to order any of the records or the merch stuff. Apparently it's pretty much available everywhere. Amazon, iTunes, so pretty much anywhere on the computer you can find it, but that's it's out there.
Before I let you go, will you care to do a promo for the show, John?
Yeah, sure, buddy. Hey, guys, this is John Corabi from the Dead Daisies, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Turn it up, keep it loud. See you soon.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber CD Radio. Thanks, John.
All right, buddy. Thank you.